welcome to Sundry Sports for Thursday, August 13th. We have another morning skate from ESPN here. Stanley Cup Playoffs edition. Wednesday's Stanley Cup Playoffs action saw Patrice Bergeron set a new Boston Bruins franchise record. Impressive performances from young stars Quinn Hughes of the Vancouver Canucks and Carter Hart of the Philadelphia Flyers. The New York Islanders rally from 2 goals down to win, and the Colorado Avalanche score 3 goals in 1:23 seconds in a shutout victory over the Arizona Coyotes. Wednesday's results. Bergeron scores in double overtime, sets franchise record. Patrice Bergeron scored 1-13 into double overtime to lift the Boston Bruins to win in Game 1 against the Carolina Hurricanes. 1-13, 1:13, 1 goal, 13 assists, whatever that means. It marked the second Eastern Conference game in as many days to acquire multiple overtimes, after the contest was rescheduled from Tuesday to Wednesday due to the length of Tuesday's 5-overtime thriller between the Tampa Bay Lightning and Columbus Blue Jackets. Bergeron scored his 4th career postseason overtime goal to break a tie with Mel Hill and Terry O'Reilly, both with 3, for the most in franchise history. 2 of Bergeron's overtime markers have come in double overtime, also Game 3 of the 2013 Conference Final versus Pittsburgh, while 2 of Hill's 3 markers were also scored in multiple overtime frames, 3 overtimes in Game 1 and Game 7 of the 1939 semifinals versus NYR. Young stars Hughes and Hart help teams take 1-0 series lead. Vancouver Canucks defenseman Quinn Hughes, age 20, and Philadelphia Flyers goaltender Carter Hart, age 22, who each made their postseason debut earlier this month, helped their teams earn Game 1 wins on Wednesday to continue impressive runs. Hughes had an assist in Game 1 against the St. Louis Blues and has collected 7 points through the first 5 postseason games of his NHL career. He became the 8th defenseman in NHL history and the 4th rookie among that group with 7 or more points through his first 5 career postseason games. If it's the first 5 career games, shouldn't they all be rookies? With 7 or more points through his first 5 career postseason games. I don't understand that. Why wouldn't they all be rookies in that stat? Hart, who turns 22 today, happy birthday, dude, improved to 3-0 through his first 3 career postseason appearances. He became the 4th goaltender in franchise history to earn wins in each of his first 3 or more career postseason appearances, joining Pete Peters in 1980, 5-0, Robert Moore in 1979, 3-0, and Brian Boucher in 2000, 3-0. Tiny Thompson of the Boston Bruins went 7-0 in his first 7 career postseason appearances, from 1929 to 1930, the longest such stretch to begin a career in NHL history. Goals in bunches give Avalanche and Islanders Game 1 victories. I'm going to have to stop doing this if I can't get my breath. The Colorado Avalanche and New York Islanders both benefited from a cluster of goals in quick succession to earn Game 1 wins in their respective series. Colorado scored the only 3 goals of Game 1 against the Arizona Coyotes in a span of 1:23 during the third period, including 2 just 10 seconds apart. It was just the second time in franchise history the team has scored 2 postseason goals in a span of 10 seconds or less. They also did so in Game 3 of the 1996 Conference Finals against Detroit, 7 seconds. Nazem Kadri, Nathan MacKinnon, and Mikko Rantanen have all found the score sheet in each of Colorado's 4 contests since the start of the Stanley Cup qualifiers. They became the first players to record at least 1 punt in each of the Avalanche's first 4 or more games from the start of a postseason since 2004, when Peter Forsberg, Joe Sakic, and Rob Blake combined for the feat. New York scored 4 unanswered goals in a span of 12 minutes 58 seconds to erase a 2-0 deficit and take a 1-0 lead in its first-round series against the Washington Capitals. The Islanders overcame a multi-goal deficit to win a postseason contest for the 6th time in the past 30 years. Washington has been the opponent in 3 of the 6 games, also Game 3 and 4 of the 1993 division semifinals. Anthony Beauvillier scored the Islanders' 4th goal of the game and has found the score sheet in each of New York's 5 contests since the start of the Stanley Cup qualifiers. 4-2 and 6. 4-2-6. He became the first player to record at least 1 point in each of the Islanders' first 5 or more games from the start of a postseason since 1993, when Ray Ferraro and Patrick Flatley did so. Looking ahead to today's action, 4 series will contest Game 2 on Thursday, including the Tampa Bay Lightning and Columbus Blue Jackets facing off after going 5 overtimes deep in Game 1, and the Boston Bruins and Carolina Hurricanes playing in back-to-back days. Teams that take a 2-0 lead in a best-of-7 Stanley Cup playoff series hold an all-time series record of 324-51, 86.4%. And they want you to watch In the Crease post-game analysis. 10:30 p.m. Eastern Time means 9:30 Central Time. It could still be going on. Game 2 of that. Anyway, that's it for that. I mean, seriously, I'm sitting here. I'm sitting completely still. Just trying to read. And I can't fucking breathe. And yet, the people in my doctor's office make me cover my mouth and nose just to get a standard checkup every single fucking week. Anyway, Cowboys Wire. Breaking. Dallas Cowboys adding defensive end Everson Griffen to mix. The Dallas Cowboys did not answer the gaping hole at right defensive end during free agency, after losing Robert Quinn and his 11.5 sacks from somewhere. Everson Griffen, yes. That's pretty much old news now. I think it was 2 days ago that happened. Excuse me. I'm actually not yawning because I'm tired this time. I'm yawning because my lungs are having a hard time filling up. I might have to stop doing this for a few weeks, and then once I get this pressure off my lungs, I'll be able to start again. We'll see. We'll see. Contract details, cap impact of Everson Griffen deal with Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys rounded out their defensive line rotation late Wednesday night, agreeing to a deal with one of the top remaining free agents. Everson Griffen. Oh my goodness. Cowboys news. McCarthy's best man, Cooper, separates from DBs and Pack. The sport of football is known for doling out hard-hitting punishment on the gridiron, but it took major blows on Tuesday. This is new Cowboys news, so we'll click on that. Major blows on Tuesday with the cancellation and postponement of some of the larger NCAA conference seasons. The NFL moves forward, though, with their unique start to training camps, which Cowboys coaches hired under Mike McCarthy have been flying dangerously low under the radar. The NFL has lifted the tryout ban, and what that could mean for some free agents in the immediate future. Despite the different style of training camp, NFL media members still believe McCarthy can have immediate success. Take a deep dive into all there is to know about what goes into the Dallas Cowboys 2020 training camp. All this and more in news and notes. Mailbag. Most underrated coaching hire? With so many staff changes, that's a typo, but I wonder how one would say that if that were a word. Changs. Anyway, with so many staff changes, it's easy to overlook or forget one of the new Cowboys coaches. In the latest edition of Mailbag, Cowboys writers Rob Phillips and Johnny Oping each give their coaching hire that is flying too far under the radar. Our new metric shows how good NFL receivers are at creating separation. Breaking news. Wide receivers who are able to get themselves open are valuable in the NFL. No shit. The Cowboys have one of those valuable receivers. His name is Amari Cooper, who in 2019 ranked number 2 at creating separation in deep passes. Cool beans. Tweet from Tom Pelissero. Here's more from today's memo on the NFL lifting the prohibition on tryouts, including free agents needing to pass 2 COVID-19 tests before they're allowed on the field, keeping them away from players on the roster, and limit to 8 players trying out per day. Okay. Excuse me. Do teams have room on their rosters for tryouts? Because they already had to cut down to 80 people, 80 players before training camp even began. So where are they gonna fit people in? It's got to be so it's an even tougher competition because somebody has to be let go in order to add somebody else. That sucks. No one rides harder for the Dallas Cowboys than Michael Irvin, whose new favorite player seems to be wide receiver CeeDee Lamb. Tweet from Blogging the Boys. Michael Irvin 88 had quite the comparison for the Dallas Cowboys, adding CeeDee Lamb to their offense. What's that?
But let me just say this, because it would not be supercilious of me to make this statement. With what the Dallas Cowboys did in the 2020 NFL Draft, by adding CeeDee Lamb to the #1 offense in the National Football League, what Will McClay did, what Jerry Jones, those guys, Mike McCarthy did, by adding this guy CeeDee Lamb is akin,
what did he say earlier?
almost tantamount to Kevin Durant being added to a 73-win Warriors team. Coach, stop asking in my ear what I said. I said supercilious. That means it wouldn't be arrogant or out of hand for me to say it. That's what that means. I'm giving it to you. I hear you in my ear gate asking other people. I don't mind educating the people. This is why I am back. I'm going to educate you, and that is not being arrogant to say adding him is like Kevin Durant being added to that Warriors team, especially offensively. They were already great offensively, and they got one of the best players and one of the best young talents at wide receiver in the National Football League. It is crazy what the Dallas Cowboys have an opportunity to do. And this is the last thing I will put on this. I know if I'm in that locker room, I love that Amari Cooper said everybody gets 1,000 yards. Hey, listen, I ain't mature that fast. I did not mature that fast. You could have never got me to say that. I was going to tell you those guys can have what I leave on the table. That's the crumb that they will eat. But I love that Amari Cooper went right out there. All of them can go and get 1,000 yards, and this new NFL and this offense will take off. That defense will have to step up and show up for the Cowboys, and I believe they can.
Oh, that's funny. I always have trouble remembering what supercilious means exactly, so I had wondered if he was using it correctly, but he obviously knows what's up. Examining the Vander Esch-Smith position swap. Is it the right call for Dallas? Bob Sturm breaks down the linebacker positional switch between Jalen Smith and Leighton Vander Esch heading into the 2020 season. The answer won't reveal itself for perhaps years to come, but the amount of capital sunk into 2 players who may best be suited for the same position is troubling. Well, yeah, I guess we'll see. Ranking which new NFL head coaches are best positioned to succeed this fall. It's hard for NFL coaches to succeed in their first year with a new team, and with this year's unusual offseason, it becomes a little more challenging. However, critics still believe in the Cowboys and new head coach Mike McCarthy. Game theory. Ranking all 32 teams by wide receiver strength. There has been tons of talk this offseason of the Cowboys' talented receiver group. NFL.com ranked every team's wideouts, and it's no surprise the Cowboys are near the top. Follow the link to find out exactly where in the top 5 the Cowboys trio lands. Name to know. Getting a look at Connor McGovern. Left guard and center are 2 spots up for grabs on the Dallas offensive line, and former 2019 third-round pick Connor McGovern has a real opportunity to seize one of those 2 roles. Learn more about the former Penn State standout. Second to none or second to one? Cowboys Martin not top guard in 2020. Supposedly. The Cowboys' offensive line has been their strongest position group for years now. Zach Martin finds himself number 2, according to Pro Football Focus, behind the Colts' Quentin Nelson. Fuck you guys. What's that guy have? I don't even know his name. 2020 Cowboys training camp. The nuts, bolts, plexiglass dividers, contact tracers of it all. This is the ultimate what you need to know. But no, we really don't. We really don't need to know about all the depressing behind-the-scenes shit. About the star in Cowboys training camp in an unprecedented year for the NFL. Protocols galore. The Cowboys are well prepared. All right, back we go. Second to know, just read that. Hemp-infused topical formulas from Charlotte's Web. Stanley Brothers. TCU running back Darius Anderson will try to parlay part-time role into full-time employment with Cowboys. Jerry Jones' non-committal on penalties for Cowboys protests has nothing to prove. I believe not. Nothing to prove. That sounds right. I mean, Jerry Jones doesn't have any complaints against him except that he hasn't raised his voice in support of this whole thing that demands support from everybody. Big fucking deal. Maturation draft class whiffs sees Cowboys plummet in ESPN's under 25 ranking. Like I said yesterday, I don't know what the fuck kind of whiffs they're talking about. It can't be this year. Cowboys news, Elliott a primary focus. Yes. Prescott past contract drama. Dreams of being a Dallas Cowboy till I'm done. We'll see. Cowboys form their own COVID bubble ahead of Friday's first practice. What you gotta do, I guess. Next is the ESPN Daily. Good morning. Today, in honor of International Left-Handers Day. Oh, really? I'd like to shout out some elite lefty athletes of our generation. Phil Mickelson, Clayton Kershaw, James Harden, Alex Morgan, Chris Bosh, Lionel Messi, me, Barry Bonds. The list goes on. Here's your ESPN Daily. Listen up. The fight for Daniel Cormier's legacy. This Saturday is UFC 252 in Las Vegas, where Daniel D.C. Cormier will fight Stipe Miocic for the heavyweight title. Now 41 years old. Is it Stipe or Stipe? Stipe? Now 41 years old, Cormier has been on the brink of retirement for over a year and is hoping to win and leave the sport on top. DC's career has been turbulent, filled with personal tragedies and countless second-place finishes. Could a victory on... In fighting, I believe a second-place finish is a loss. Just saying. Could a victory on Saturday alter the narrative for Cormier, or will DC forever be remembered as second best? On today's episode of the ESPN Daily Podcast, ESPN's Ariel Helwani, who profiled Cormier last year for E60, joins Pablo Touré to discuss DC's life and legacy. Then, Touré shares his experience as a virtual fan at Monday's Pacers Heat game. Things to care about. No one conference should have all that power. One conference to rule them all. When you look at the disunity among college football and the total lack of centralized leadership, it all comes down to one thing. Power. Power move. The sport is run by the commissioners of the Power Five conferences. It has been this way since the mid-1980s when the U.S. Supreme Court ruled against the NCAA and returned television rights back to the schools. They, in turn, assigned their rights to the conferences. The commissioners wield that power, and very few people in life give up power willingly, especially after decades of grooming and growing that power. College sports will never not be run by committees, and colleges will never not be run by presidents and chancellors. Also, not for nothing, the structure of college sports is no different than the structure of the United States. It's regional, so it would only stand to reason that the college sports world struggles to come together on how to handle a panic has 100% mirrored the nation's struggle. Varied regions and states and counties and cities have varied rules and varied reopening plans for varied reasons. And it's all for very good reasons, because liberty and state sovereignty, that's what this country was built on. Liberty and self-governance, the sovereignty of the states. The central government is not supposed to be so much more powerful than the smaller local governments. I mean, they're not supposed to be that much smaller than the central government. That's just how our country is supposed to be, and it's very disheartening for anybody to try to change that just because of some fear of some new and different germ that is not nearly as deadly as people make it out to be. I'm just saying. So has the time for strong... Of course, that I'm not saying that college should also be that way. I'm just saying the country has very good reasons. Colleges, I'm sure, could stand to change. So has the time for strong, centralized leadership in college football finally come? What is the point of an association like the NCAA if it can't actually take the lead during a crisis like this? What role could it or should it have played to move the sport forward? ESPN's Ivan Maisel, Ryan McGee, and Bill Connolly came together to discuss. Big day in the bubble. Things just got real in the NBA bubble. Not that they weren't before, but today we reached the conclusion of the red-hot West play-in battle. It also could potentially mark the first time the San Antonio Spurs have missed the playoffs since 1997, aka the summer that Hansen's Bop ruled the charts. What? Yeah, it's been a minute. As the Portland Trail Blazers, Memphis Grizzlies, Spurs, and Phoenix Suns all go to battle with the hopes of locking up one of the two spots for Saturday's play-in series, the final play-in to determine a playoff spot since 1956, we asked our experts to go 5-on-5 to debate the best moments of the NBA bubble. Excuse me, I had to sneeze. Bless you to me. We asked our experts to go 5-on-5 to debate the best moments of the NBA bubble, their biggest takeaways so far, and their predictions for the play-in winner, the team that will advance to face the Los Angeles Lakers. Hint, it's Dame time. Okay. If your team is in the mix, or if you're a Lakers fan who wants to be prepared for what might lie ahead, I feel that. Here is how the Trail Blazers, Grizzlies, Spurs, and Suns make it in. Oh, and while they were at it, our experts also picked bubble awards, because if the performances over the past weeks have taught us anything, it's that bubble basketball is a totally different animal than regular basketball. From the rookie of the bubble to the MVP, here's who has made a name for himself in Florida. Things to watch. Battle of the benches. If your bench doesn't hype you up like this, you need a new bench. Last night, the Raptors and 76ers battle on the court, which ended with Toronto getting a 125-121 win, was second only to the duel that took place on their respective benches. As the game came down to the wire, their benches got more and more animated, and it was awesome. NBA bubble energy is elite. Change my mind. That's the second time she's used this whole change my mind thing. Did she get it from Steven Crowder, or is this just incidental thing. Overheard. For one night, I felt like Cinderella. I had the glass slippers on. Tomorrow it's back to reality, but it was an awesome feeling. Raptors assistant coach Adrian Griffin, after leading Toronto to a win over the Philadelphia 76ers while filling in as head coach on Wednesday. Oh, that's nice. Remember when? On this date in 2018, a man wearing 2 knee braces pulled off the greatest fake of all time and effectively ended his opponent's basketball career. Really? What's on today? Bunch of stuff that's already happened. Until next time, remember, and on the undisclosed number day of quarantine, I shed tears when Jump Around by House of Pain came on my workout playlist, because no one will be jumping around at Camp Randall Stadium this fall. I'm not even a Badgers fan. I just have a lot of feelings. This has been your ESPN Daily for Thursday, August... what was today? 13th. Thursday, August 13th, 2020. Alrighty. One last one. Yahoo Sports Read and React. Giannis suspended 1 game for headbutting Mo Wagner. Big 12 pushing on. Scheduled to start football September 26th. Dak wants to be a Cowboy for life. Supposedly. No fans. Sorry, patrons at the Masters. ESPN reportedly wanted Sean McVay in Monday Night Football booth. Get ready for pod life. Morning, everybody. While college football is figuring out how to shut itself down, the NFL is getting creative in how it plans to include fans, wait for it, in stadiums. Are you ready for pod football? Here's how it's loosely going to work. You and 10 of your buddies decide you're going to hit up Texans-Chiefs Week 1. You buy tickets together, read through the 5 pages of terms and conditions of attending a game, sign your life away via a liability waiver. See, if they can do the liability waivers, why does it have to be such a big deal? Just do the fucking liability waivers, and anybody who wants to come acknowledges that they are responsible for their own health. Bam, you're done. Hit up the tailgate, put a few back, responsibly of course, then head into the game where you get your own freaking section. Yeah, baby. Well, maybe not your own section, but enough space between you and the pod next door to spread out the legs a bit and presumably not give them the COVID if you or anyone in your pod has it. The Patriots, Chiefs, and of course the Cowboys are among the teams working on pod systems, which, when you have 3 million square feet to work with, seems doable. Our stadium is well suited to put together numbers of people that have elected to come and want to watch the Dallas Cowboys play, Jones said. The stands will essentially look like a checkerboard. Open section, closed section, open section, closed section, and so forth. It's basically the plan the Cincinnati Bengals have employed the last few seasons, albeit unintentionally. Asshole. That's not nice. There is, of course, the issue of the concourses, how to limit traffic jams at the concession stands and in the bathrooms. Expect more... How to limit traffic jam? As if people haven't been navigating public spaces for months now. Come on. I mean, you're making them sign liability waivers. You don't have to do much more than that. Also, I mean, there's pretty much mandates everywhere now that everybody has to wear a mask, right? And social distance. So, I don't see how it's much of an issue. Expect more food and beer delivery, and for the resourceful, just hook up your stadium pal to take care of that bathroom dilemma. I don't know what that means. Think of it like you were going out to dinner with another couple or a group of friends, one team source told our Charles Robinson. You've committed to having dinner basically in your pod with the people you arrived with, people who you presumably know, and then you are kept separate from others who have their own pods. And on the menu it says, by entering the restaurant and restaurant grounds, I voluntarily assume all risks related to exposure to COVID-19. Well, there you go. That's all you need to do. Welcome to the... I'm not fucking saying that. Robinson. The NFL needs to follow the NBA and get its own snitch line. Fuck you, guy. Bushnell. Inside one team's enduring COVID-19 outbreak. Wetzel, Notre Dame now carries college football torch for Midwest. The show must go on. A tweet from The Onion. NCAA reminds boosters that full bribes still due even if football season canceled. Ha ha ha. And that's all. Whew. Thank you and good night.